Hi, I'm Sam, one of the technicians here at Wheelbase. You've received your exciting new road bike. It's super easy to assemble the bike, and I'm going to take you through a step-by-step guide on how to do so. Step 1, tools. First you're going to need some cutters, a multi-tool, potentially a 15mm spanner or a large Allen key for the pedals, and ideally a torque key. And lastly, a floor pump. Step 2, on receiving the box you need to check the box for damage. If there is any damage, you need to inform our helpful mail order team. Then you need to remove the bike from the box, so carefully take out the front wheel, then the seat post and the manual and parts box, and then carefully remove the bike from the box, like so. Step 3, so the first thing to do in terms of assembling the bike is put the seat post in the frame. Most bikes you can simply slip it into the frame. This particular bike, it is Di2, so you just need to plug it in first, like so, and then just press it in carefully without snagging the wire. Next you need to grab the seat wedge, make sure it's situated all the way flush with the frame. Once the seat post is in, you just need to tighten up the wedge. Tighten your seat post to the manufacturer's recommended torque settings. Step 4, remove all packaging from the bike. Try your best to recycle all packaging. Step 5, once your handlebars are free, you need to remove the faceplate on the stem. Then you need to fit the bars. Loosely tighten the handlebars into place. We'll do the final adjustment at a later point once the front wheel is in. Step 6, we're going to put the front wheel in. First you need to remove the axle, and then you need to remove the pad spacer. With this, make sure you do not squeeze the brake while there's nothing stopping the pads. So to put the front wheel in, you need to make sure that the disc is in line with the caliper. So lift the front end up, slide it underneath, locate the disc between the pads on the caliper and in the dropouts on the fork. Then if you insert the axle through the holes and then wind it in. Now the bite point on these doesn't have to be majorly tight, just snug. And then if you close the lever so it's not protruding forwards or downwards. Then once the front wheel's in, you need to line up the handlebars correctly. So these need to move into the centre. Often you can line this up with the decals on the handlebar. And then you need to make sure that they're level. You need to tighten up the faceplate in an X pattern and make sure all the spacing is equal. On this particular model, as you can see, the torque setting is 4 Newton meters. Step 7, there's no need to adjust the headset. This has already been done by one of us here at Wheelbase. Now that the handlebars are tightened, it's time to check that they don't move by firmly pressing down on the hoods and making sure there's no movement. Step 8, time to fit the pedals. If you can see on the pedals, they have a R on them for right, and obviously on the other one they have an L for left. Sometimes this will be on the packaging. Also, the other difference between some pedals is the fitting. Some will be with a 15mm spanner, others will be with a 6 or an 8 Allen key. Now you need to install the pedal. There will already be some grease installed inside of the threads. There's no need to worry about that. The threads will be opposite to what you're used to. So what you need to do is put the pedal lightly into the thread and turn forwards towards the front wheel. Once you feel the thread bite, do a couple of turns with your fingers. Then, if it's an Allen key, get your Allen key, put it into the other side and turn it on, and then tighten it up. These obviously need to be reasonably tight as they're not really going to come off. Step 9 is time to check the setup of your saddle. So make sure that the saddle is level by checking the tip of the nose of the saddle, and then the height by measuring it up to your hip. Step 10, you must check your tyre pressure. Usually we will send the bikes with the correct tyre pressure inflated. On a road bike we recommend around 85 psi, but it is worth checking the max and minimum pressure on each separate tyre. So before you ride your bike, it's probably worth doing the M check. So if you start down at the front axle, make sure that's tight, check the spoke tension is good, move up to the headset, check that's tight, front brake works, you're good. Check the back brake works, you're good. Move on to the bottom bracket, make sure that the cranks aren't moving, Then up to the seat, make sure the seat is in firmly. Down to the gears, make sure that your hanger is aligned, they're working good. Rear axle, rear spokes, and obviously your rear brake. You're good to ride.